Hey, this is Loral. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. We have a 4-part series for you today on how to build wealth, how to create a legacy, and how to control your financial future in this state of interesting economic times. So I have an interview of 4 parts that we've broke into. And the first part is going to be about these things. It's going to be the road to wealth and where it starts in controlling your money. It's going to be the steps to a millionaire. How do you do a 3 to 5 year plan? And then how do you pivot your life so your income actually can shift more for you? So let's go listen to this interview with Chris and I, and we'll be right back on the other side.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Naugle back with the Money School podcast, where we talk about money, but more specifically, how to control your money. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I've got a friend of mine from way back, somebody that I used to see all the time on the road, but she got smart and got off the road, but she didn't stop building businesses. She didn't stop making millionaires. And she certainly hasn't stopped teaching people the truth about money. And that's what we're going to talk about. But let me just give you a couple accolades about my guest. First off, a wealth expert, but not just regionally, globally. 6-time New York Times bestseller, CEO of Integrated Wealth Systems. She's been in multiple areas of finance and mentoring since 1996, everything from real estate, business acquisitions, oil, gold, and lots more. But one of the best things that she teaches is right in line with what we do. It's how to make money, how to invest money, and most importantly, how to keep money. Because we're not trying to teach you how to be rich here. We're trying to show you how to be wealthy. And the biggest difference between being rich and being wealthy is the wealthy have figured out how not to give the money back. Let me welcome to this podcast, Loral Langemeier. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's good to see you, Chris. I think the last time I saw you was San Diego with Scott. And
absolutely.
I think it's been years. Was that pre-COVID, post-COVID? I think it was pre-COVID, right?
It was, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, it's funny how much time has passed since the pandemic, but yet it still feels like it was yesterday.
I know. I came off the road March 7th, 2020. And as you know, I was all stage TV, Dr. Phil's money expert, did all that. And then, you arrive home and 29 stages cancel, every TV show cancels, and you're like, what am I going to do? So we went armed forces with a whole bunch of online social folks and taught us how to get it done. And we have a massive YouTube channel. So it's Loral Langemeier, the Millionaire Maker, right? After the main book, we relaunched the book, we relaunched the website, we relaunched the brand, and we've chose to stay home. I gave a lot of years, 6 continents, all but Antarctica. I've taught all over the world. I took my kids everywhere. And these last 5 years, I can tell, have been amazing. And we'll talk on another podcast, not today, about my cannabis farm. So I have one of the largest acreages of farming here in Nevada. And I've been doing a lot of that. I was born a Nebraska farm girl, and now I'm probably going to die a Nevada cannabis farm girl. So it's a funny transition, Chris. I'm off the road for the most part. I mean, there's still some special friends and folks that I'll go out and do events for. But as far as the road warrior and getting a private plane again to go everywhere and do all that, those days are over. I'm enjoying being home. A lot healthier too.
Yeah, I can speak to that. And I have not, during the pandemic, it's funny how you talked about recreating yourself, but that's what, all of us do is we create, right? And you recreated yourself, but you got off the road and you stayed off the road. Now I got off the road, did the same thing with the YouTube channel, all the social media, leaned heavily into that, had massive success, but I've been back on the road and it is killing me. And I don't mean that literally, I mean that actually, it is killing me. So I got to figure out how to get off the road eventually.
You drink out, you don't get good sleep, you're in different hotel beds. Like there's an endurance and a capacity, don't you notice, like to build to even be able to do that. Like I look at now, I'll go out to one show, it might be 2 or 3 days. Like I've been a money expert, so very selective communities. So I'm a money expert in some big Cairo communities, got some different real estate communities. So I'll go to them. But it's interesting when you're on the road, even for 3 nights in a row, it's like, I can't wait to get home. You really had to build up endurance because I look back, Chris, and I think the days where I was doing I saw you all the time back on the time. 3 to 5 shows a week is not uncommon. I mean, sometimes 4 or 5 and sometimes all day. The capacity and the endurance to live on the road. I don't think they always say, I'm going to travel. I can't wait to do it. You and I are like, been there, done that. I mean, I want to do highly selective travel my way. Anyway, but I will do this till the day I die. That's one thing Bob Proctor taught me. I got the last endorsement of Bob Proctor's life right there.
Oh, what a great man.
4 days before he passed. And I remember talking to him about this because he's been around during the birth of both of my children. And I mean, he's watched me grow up since I was 21 years old. So what a great man. And he said, if you love it as much as I love it, and I know you love what you do, he says, just do it till the day you die. And then 4 days later, he did. I was like, wow. So that's my new commitment too. I love being high touch with my clients. All my clients get my cell phone now. So I just have more time to be more mindful about the work. Obviously, my Canvas farm is a huge other reason that I did stay home. Yeah, my farm's 2 hours away from where I live, and that's a massive commitment to be out there.
So let's dive right into this. There's very few people I can have discussions like we're going to have today. And folks, just so you know, when I start these podcasts, I never have a direction. I didn't spend time offline, outside of talking travel with Loral about what we're going to talk about. We just go, but we've been doing this money education for so long. It's just a great conversation. So you've helped 10,000 clients. You're now a 7-figure earner. But the thing that most people listening to this want to know is, where did you start and how did you get to this point? What was the journey like? So let's just start there. What was your journey? I know, farm girl from an early days, but how did you become the millionaire maker and how did you get to this place?
If you had ever told me farm girl from Nebraska would be doing this, first of all, I'd say you're out of your mind. It's nothing. I had no interest in any of that. I was very 4-H and FFA and agricultural centric and rodeoed with my dad and my family. And so none of that life. Did play basketball, was a huge music. A lot of people don't know that chapter of my life. I played French horn for 14 years. So I have a huge musical background. So I had 2 choices to go music or athletics in school. So I went athletics. Anyway, at 17, Chris, was my first personal development workshop, right? The basketball team all went and I saw Dennis Waitley was the keynote. And, he was one of those, old school guys were like, run to the front of the room and get your stuff. So guess what book I got when I ran to the front of the room at 17 years old? Think and Grow Rich. So that was my definitive, I remember vividly reading, consuming it multiple times. This is a life. This is the cool shit you can do in your life. I was like, wow, you can totally do whatever you want. You can think like you want. You can decide like you want. You mastermind the team approach. So instead of going to school to be a lawyer, I love debating, I changed to business finance and got a bachelor's degree. Went to an investment bank for about not even a day.
A day is too long in investment banking.
I think it was 4 minutes, really. I mean, everybody's in stuffy suits, and this was in the 80s. I'm like, there's no way. And everybody takes a 10-minute break and then has lunch. It's eat when you want, do what you want. That whole thing was weird to me. So went back to school, got my master's in exercise physiology. So the first chapter, most of my 20s, was in corporate wellness, had a very, very lucrative personal training, aerobics instruction, did his whole certification program. And then Chevron found me when I was 24 and I did a multi-million-dollar contract to build 272 fitness centers on offshore oil rigs. So I moved to New Orleans. I flew offshore in a helicopter almost every day, which they said, you better protect your hearing because here, years later in my 50s, I have 31% loss and 27% loss from those lovely days in my 20s that I didn't pay attention to what older people said. You guys should really pay attention to us older people because, history, wisdom. So I don't remember. Then I met Bob Proctor and I just remember, it's Bob, I want to get back to that whole money conversation, the Think and Grow Rich. And he's a Napoleon Hill junkie, right? I mean, he could recite Napoleon Hill. Bob could. If you guys don't know Bob Proctor, the man was a legend. And so he said, well, I think I have a transition for you. This was 1996. So fast forward a lot of years. I ended up living in San Francisco, traveled all over the world for Chevron, building fitness centers. So I knew that I got the travel bug during those eras. And so I knew that whatever I did do, and when I became a parent, I was going to travel with my kids a lot because I didn't have that experience. Anyway, so Bob said, well, you got to get on a plane tomorrow and go to Scottsdale. And he said, you're going to sit at a woman's house, Sharon Lecter, and you're going to make a deal for this game they have because they want to focus on the book called Think and Grow Rich. And I'm like, whatever. I'll just do what Bob says because that's what you do. So I jumped on a plane. Do you even know this story? Have I told you this story?
Yeah, I've heard you told this. I think we were in Arizona when I heard this story about this first initial game visit, if you will.
So I'm sitting around her kitchen table. And so I go in as a, exercise physiologist for Chevron and I walk out the master distributor of a game. You talk about identity crisis. By then I became an employee of Chevron. So to jump back in the entrepreneurial world was so freeing, but also a little daunting, because you go from a lot of structure to now you have to create your structure, create marketing, create sales, and create it all again. So that's what got me back over here. And then in 1999, became a real estate millionaire. McGraw-Hill found me, offered me a 3-book, 7-figure deal just to do this and 2 other Millionaire Maker books. So it's a series of 3. It's this one, Cash Machine for Life is how do you build a 7-figure business. And then Wealth Cycle Investing is how do you invest in all alternatives. gas and oil, real estate, mineral rights, water rights, aviation, like all the things wealthy people do. Insurance, where you are heavily, just huge. I'd say the rest is kind of history. Otherwise, I've made about 10,000 millionaires. And then once my kids got to be adults, 18 and 25 today, I wrote how I did this with them. So it's been fun. It's been an interesting journey. And, I'm spending a lot of time now showing you all my little goodies on legacy. So hope you enjoyed that first of 4 parts with Chris and I. We're going to keep digging into legacy, wealth building, a wealth warrior, how that actually works. Before we continue on to the second part, I want you to subscribe to our channel. We're here 5 days a week. If you have any questions, ask a question, make a request, go to askloral.com, and we're there 24/7. We'd love to help you. The last thing I want to do before we wrap up this episode 1 of a 4-part is give you 2 tickets to my Millionaire Intensive. Once a month, we do an event that's all day long, 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific, where you learn about how to be a millionaire, how to market, how to get a funnel, and then how to do a marketplace. How do you actually sell online and make some money? So we're here 5 days a week. Make sure you subscribe, hook up our channel. Don't go away. We have episode 2 coming next.